what are you doing today that's playing small and playing bigger?
Hello and welcome back to the Herbal Skillshare Marathon. In this session, we are going to be hearing from Trisha Jackson, who is going to share a little bit about how to develop the skills that are needed to actually run the business side of an herbal product business. She definitely has this skill down packed. She has been running her elderberry entrepreneur business for several years and has really developed the systems and the legal framework to protect her and her business in the way of doing this. And that is what she's going to be sharing about in this video right here for you. This is going to be a great help for you if you have any type of herbal products and you're wanting to make sure that you can systematize and do things as best you can across the board. So without much further ado, let's take it away, Trisha.
So, hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be sharing all of my experiences with you. So I am an ex-digital marketing vice president for the corporate sector and pivoted in 2017 to go full-time into the entrepreneurial journey. The fact that we're processing something or manufacturing something that we're intending for other people to use and we're exchanging money for goods and services, that's really where the regulation comes in. Make sure you understand federal law, state law, at least here for the US, right? Federal, state, local laws. Understand what those manufacturing laws look like, because that's what's going to drive your decision about how you're going to run your business, what you might think about making, and how you intend to distribute your product. If you think about the way in which different products are manufactured, if you are a food-based business, if you are a skincare or cosmetic business, are you a supplement business? Those are big words that really matter when it comes to regulation, because those different categories have different regulation. The way in which you make the herbal product has regulation. So, for example, my dried kit business from the elderberry standpoint is very different than making a hot or cold product that is used to ingest. And so those independently have their own set of rules. And then where you make them comes into play, right? So there's regulation about where you make them. There's regulation about how do you distribute them. If you are distributing with them within your local area, or in the States, if you're crossing state lines, it's a whole other regulation, whether you're making it at home or if you're required to make it in a commercial kitchen. So understanding that is probably the biggest source of overwhelm that I see for a lot of herbal entrepreneurs, because it's not just for elderberry, but that spans anything. If you own an apothecary, or if you're making, any number of things. If you're thinking about things that have a cold process, if you're manufacturing something like a tincture or an oxymel or a glycerite, those have a very different requirements. So understanding all of those things and all those little nuances are super, super important to get clear about. First and foremost, if you are in the United States, that you should be looking at your state regulators. So that might look, and they're all called something different here in the state. So in Ohio, it's the State Department of Agriculture. And I would say for the large majority, it's the State Department of Agriculture for many states. There are some states that call it the Department of Weight and Measures. I think that might be Louisiana, but there's going to be a department that manages food manufacturing or supplement manufacturing. And so you're looking, when you pick up the phone and call the state, you want to make sure that you're using those words. Like, I am a packaged manufacturer of a food or a supplement. And you'll kind of have to know in your head which route you want to go on, because those paths look very different in terms of labeling requirements. And, regulators are very black and white. So I always coach people to use like very minimal words, but be very clear about the type of product you produce, and don't try to overcomplicate it, because the more kind of we speak, then, we'll get heads to kind of swirl. But reach out to your state departments, and they're going to be the first people. The biggest takeaway is as soon as you get on the phone with someone, because what happens in some states is they start to pass the buck a little bit. So make sure that after you've had that phone call, you send an email. Ask the person for their email. Send the email and confirm that what you heard was accurate, and have them respond back to say, please respond back to let me know that you've received this and it's what you you confirm what we've talked about. And then if they pass the buck, what I coach people to do is to contact the new person and carbon copy on your email the old person and let the old person know, hey, I'm contacting them. And the new person, it's sort of like the checks and balances, because a lot of times people don't necessarily understand our world and they're not sure what to do with us, right? They're like, oh, something's going on, but we don't know what to do. And that sort of gets everyone accountable and transparent to one another, and that you're sort of, covering your own backside as well. In the States, even in the smallest of states, two uh, two inspectors that could live in the same city or in the same county area, they can interpret the laws very differently. And so it's always important to know, and we see this a lot in the elderberry community, that in my free communities that I run, like they're like, oh, but my inspector said something different than your inspector says, and that's just their interpretation. And so I always tell people to say, hey, do whatever your inspector tells you to do, and if it's something that you think that is missing the boat on because it's not in your favor, well, then that's when you should like push them and say, hey, look, like we know that there's another interpretation of this. Can we consider whatever it is that you need to do? So just know that, we're all human and these laws have been written, but everyone interprets them a little bit differently. And that's a commonplace thing, especially when it comes to herbal products. The state really determines what they feel is considered their good manufacturing practices. So they're going to have a checklist. Now, they don't always tell you this, but every last one of them has a checklist. If you can start networking, like I would love to share, like the best piece of advice is to get networking with other people who are also manufacturing your specific niched item, because they'll be able to share, hey, well, here's what my checklist looks like. So on those checklists, like it's really going to be defined by things like, making, if you're in a commercial kitchen, like what does that kitchen need to look like? What are the wall surfaces look like? What are the requirements for lights? What are the requirements for the areas that you're prepping? What kind of sanitizer are you using? And so those sorts of things that they're going to be looking for. So in terms of documenting, make sure that you start soup to nuts. The minute you start thinking about making your products, from where your products are located to what's on your hands and is your hair tied back, every step that you do, the next time you go to make your product, write that step down and then write down like what you're thinking about. And then you can go back to make sort of this document that says, here is my step-by-step way that I do business and what I'm tracking and all those things in between. And then what you're going to want to do at each point in step is to think about, like, where are there food safety issues? Where could potentially there be a hazard to either someone making my product or me making the product? Or is there is it possible that my product at this step could be contaminated with something else that could be problematic for somebody later? And the reason why you want to have all those like sort of light bulb moments in their process is that in the event of a recall, that you can come back and you can say, well, here's my checklist. And maybe something went awry in this point of my checklist, and here's what I can go do about it. So then you want to make another checklist that is sort of your, well, if that's a risk, here's what I'm going to do about it plan. Like, what's your plan to remedy those things? So when you're thinking about good manufacturing practices, you want to be thinking about your step-by-step process at the points at which there could be something going wrong. And then what is your remedy plan? What are you going to do to remedy those things? And then have all those documents ready to go, especially when you have an inspection, because they're going to want to see that you sort of have crossed all your T's, dotted all of your I's in that way. Something else you have to consider is registering, especially if you're not considered a cottage food state. You have to register your manufacturing facility with the FDA. That doesn't mean FDA is regulating you. That just means that the FDA has record. If something goes wrong, they have record of where that product came from. Now, in some states, they do require, I know Missouri is one state. Missouri is very particular about some herbal products, and they might require the FDA to come inspect you in addition to the state. So that's something else to think about, is what are the implications at the federal level legally with your business? So those are the biggest things to have as far as record keeping. Your state is going to dictate, and your processing authority letter will dictate, do you need to take times throughout your process, like times you started, times you stopped, the temperature of your product when you've started, the temperature in the middle, the temperature at the end. Do you need to have pictures of all of those things? Um, so you want to get really good at just maybe creating a spreadsheet and saying, I might not be doing that now, but as I grow, I'm going to do it later. And it's always better to be prepared with those things because you want to act in your business as if you're already the CEO and you sort of made it big time, right? Because you want to grow into those things. So better to set up those practices now and get really good at those things. Do you want to be your business? Or do you want to grow a business? Do you want to work in your business or do you want to work on your business? Because those are two totally different things. And when we're small, we are our business. We're like hands in, we're dirty, we're working inside of our business. And a lot of it is just trial and error when it comes to trying to figure out like the best way to be efficient because we're trying to be scrappy, we're learning about our recipes, and we're doing all the things. So some of it comes with just doing it more often and make failure fast. But if you want to work on your business, I always, my mantra has always been, how do I fire myself faster? Like, how do I figure out like all these things to delegate? Whether do I want to hire other people to get more efficient? If I hire more efficient, I get out of the kitchen and I pay somebody else and pay maybe multiple people to make bigger, faster, more, right? So that's one way we can sort of scale and be efficient. The other way is there somebody else who can produce my product and I just pay that other company and like it's my recipe, my labels, and we call those co-packers. So how can I outsource and make that really efficient by outsourcing it? Now, I know some of you in the audience might say, but that costs money. It does. And there's this, like, as you grow in a business, you start to realize, like, you're either going to pay yourself in time and energy, or you can pay somebody else in money and you get back your time and energy and you can scale it. So your profit margins might be smaller, but you can scale it. So you get efficiency in investing in other people and you get efficiency or just outsourcing your whole process to somebody else. So you kind of have to take yourself, when you're thinking about efficiencies, take yourself out of exactly what you do and think about other businesses that do something similar to what you do that you can go and network with, that you can get into their Facebook groups, or that you can ask to maybe be in a mastermind with people who do something similar, but maybe not in the same industry as you. And that kind of keeps your mind open. And I find that as herbal artisans, sometimes we get down, like we're told one thing and we go down this lane and our blinders are on because it's what we were told. And we don't think broader and outside of our own industries. And I think that's so important. In corporate America, I was in 9 different industries and it didn't matter. Every business thought that their business had it figured out. And I'd come and I'd say, every business is really the same. Like it's really the same thing. We're not reinventing too many wheels here. We just have to figure out how to do it a little bit differently. So I think in terms of efficiency, like there are a lot of different ways that you can look to be efficient. And one of the best ways is getting just connected to a group who does exactly what you do and focus on one. I know a lot of herbal artisans are working on like multiple products. And I think this is another efficiency conversation that my students have with me, right? They're working on 50 different products and I teach them to, and I'm like, you guys have to be the master of one. Like we cannot be the jack of all trades and do all of them really well. Something's going to suffer. And if we pick one thing, master that one thing, then we can apply it to multiple things. But it's never necessarily in the making of the stuff. It's in the packaging and the labeling and the marketing of it all that takes all of our energy and time share. I teach people how to be the CEO of their business rather than being like the person in our business. Move past the idea of sole proprietor. And maybe this is just a US based thing, but when we think about business structure, like what's the legal structure of our business, getting away from just being you, because in the event that someone would come back to you or take legal recourse against you, if you're a sole proprietor, they're literally coming after you as a person and all of your personal assets are exposed. Your home, things in your home, your finances, all of that's exposed. And if we think past that and start thinking about, okay, let's move towards an LLC or let's move towards a partnership, or if you're already making a substantial income in your business, what does an S Corp look like from a tax benefit perspective? And what the LLC or the partnership or the corporations do is that separates out personal from business. So if someone were to come and take legal action against you, they would be coming after the business. So, you're taking your money and you're moving it from your business to your personal. So only the business assets are then exposed. So that could mean things like, yes, income, but it could be your client list. It could be any number of things, but you want to get those separate legally. Go get the business account. There are so many online banks. There are a lot of in-person banks with very low fees. Sometimes they're fee free, but have a business set of business accounts and have your personal accounts, because just like sole proprietor and LLC, if someone comes after you, if you're an LLC and it's your LLC still is tied to your personal accounts, you might think, oh, well, I'm protected because they're going to come after my business assets. Well, there's nothing, like there's no account associated to your business asset. You're still kind of applying the LLC on your personal bank accounts. So have that LLC and then your business bank accounts associated with the LLC over here. So you want to kind of keep your business structure separate and your bank account separate. When I see the most successful people succeed, number one thing is to manage your mindset, where people are like, oh, yeah, I need to work on personal development things. But your business is going to have so many ups and downs, and managing your mindset and getting yourself out of the habit of thinking like, I'm the only thing, or I'm the worst thing, or, all of those things, the things that we fuel our mind with every day is going to be how we are portrayed to others, who we're going to attract into our businesses, how we're going to weather those sort of ups and downs in our business. And so the things that you do every day relative to like making sure that your mindset is strong are things like listening to audiobooks, making sure that you're reading, or following the gurus that have gone before you. Fill your stuff with positive mentors and find masterminds. Find like people who are just one step ahead of you and go along their journey. The businesses who succeed are the ones that don't quit. And so if you are thinking about quitting, only quit on your best day ever, because that's when you're going to know, oh, well, I can't quit. I'm doing so well. And then that day, the day that you're feeling down or that you want to like just throw in the towel, like realize you're not the first person that's going through it. It might really feel terrible in the moment, but taking massive action and just keeping those feet moving forward. And again, that's where your networking groups, your mastermind groups, like those are the groups that are going to help you keep going forward in your business, because they're going to want to help you pull you up by your bootstraps, get your mind fed with more positive mojo so that you can keep taking massive action. What are you doing today that's playing small and playing bigger? The more people that we help, it really is a numbers game. And I know a lot of people aren't a numbers girl. I'm a huge numbers girl, right? I track everything. And I say, if I'm starting to feel stuck in my business, it's probably because I haven't taken actions big enough and I haven't helped enough people with bigger problems. So I also like to say that when I hear conversations like, I have to, like, my prices need to be cheap, right? Like, they don't have to be cheap. If you think about Walmart, like there's either two places. They're either you need to be the most expensive or you need to be the cheapest. Like all the noise in your business happens in the middle. And so when we think about helping more people and we think about, making more money or solving bigger problems, like I don't, as the ultimate entrepreneur, I am one of the pricier price points in the marketplace. But the amount of value I deliver to my clients goes well beyond just making someone elderberry syrup or handing them a tincture, right? We're talking about, health coaching and wellness opportunities for, like, I bring my communities together and I help them set alarms on their phones for like continuing education and taking their products. And so you can command whatever you want to do if you're helping to solve bigger problems. The problem I don't solve is just immune support tools, right? I'm solving time, I'm solving convenience, I'm solving peace of mind. And so that third bullet about like, how can you really be successful in your business is just helping more people and figure out like, what are you really doing? Like Disney is not just like, Disney is making dreams come true, right? They're making happiness happen. They're not just, putting out princesses, having them dance around, but they're like, it's a bigger vision. So like, what is your bigger vision? And the more people you can help solve their bigger problems, the more impact that you can have in the world.